Hi everyone, I'm Archa and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is my first YouTube video ever, so if you like it, hit the subscribe button below and support for more exciting and interesting content. So now let's hop onto the unicorn and go on this amazing ride. So every year during admissions time, I get asked a ton of questions, and most of these questions are very repetitive and they are all over my socials such as LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. So to make everyone's life easier, I've made 2 of these videos answering all of these questions that I get. So this is going to be about your Masters of Law at National University of Singapore. So if you like this video, make sure to watch part 2 of this video and let's get started. In this video, we're specifically going to go over these questions. So before we deep dive into the topic, a bit of background about me. So I am a lawyer and I finished my law degree in Chennai, India in 2019. I then pursued my master's in international arbitration and dispute resolution at NUS and I finished the same in 2020. So currently I live and work in Bangkok with the company as an in-house counsel. So for everyone's convenience, I've split this video into 2 parts. So let's get started. So the number one question I get asked by most of my juniors is, how did you decide to do this? Why did you decide to do this? How did you know that this is what you wanted to do? And I think the question is fair enough. So let me talk about it just a bit. So in August of 2018, I was in the final year of my law school and I had to do this internship for one of the modules. So I decided that I would do this internship at an arbitration center in Chennai, and this was called the Nani Palkiwala Arbitration Center. So I interned there for about a couple of months, and during this time I met a lot of people who were into arbitration. I met a lot of retired judges, arbitrators, and a lot of students in the arbitration space. So during this time my interest in arbitration grew and I learned a lot about it. I learned so much about it. So I decided to look for courses that would help me specialize in the same field, would help me specialize in arbitration, dispute resolution, and so on. So from August to September of 2018, I started to look for universities that offer this particular course. And I also looked through the kind of coursework they offer, the kind of modules they offer, the kind of professors they had on board, the kind of extracurricular activities that I could participate in, and most importantly, and I analyzed if it would offer me an environment that I could thrive in. So NUS actually ticked all of these boxes and I decided to apply in September 2018. So the second most common question I get is, how did you finally choose NUS? How did you finally narrow it down from all the options that you researched? So to answer this question, it was fairly simple, for me at least, because NUS not only ticked all the boxes that I was looking for, but they also had some very interesting modules that they offered. A few of them, for example, is mediation, negotiation, legal clinic, energy arbitration, and so on. Other than this, NUS also has a list of top-notch faculty and also visiting faculty. So this made my decision relatively very easy. Plus, SIAC is located in Singapore and it is one of the world's most reputed arbitral institutions. So why not, right? And let's face it, this was the first time I was moving out of home. So Singapore as a location itself was kind of comforting to me because it was just a 2-hour flight from Chennai. So I really, look forward to being in Singapore at this point. And I gathered everything and I started applying to NUS. So a lot of people ask if you have to have work experience before you pursue your Masters of Law, before you do your Master's degree. And I think that this is a very personal decision. For me, I always knew that I wanted to pursue my Masters even before I finished my undergrad in law. So upon discussion with my friends, my professors, and all the people that I knew back then, I decided to go with the flow and finish studying before I entered work. But again, this decision is super personal and it's up to you and only you to make this decision. So now let's briefly talk about the process to apply for NUS Law. So all of this information is based on my application back in 2019. So back then, the NUS application window started somewhere in October and ended in December, if I remember correctly. And a piece of sincere advice here would be to start this entire process early and make sure that you have all the documents ready before you get started. So back then, the NUS Faculty of Law preferred a TOEFL over IELTS. So I booked my exam sometime in late September, but due to some technical glitch, I actually had to attempt the exam sometime in October. And these results take about 10 days to come. So my sincere advice would be to book these exams early, book these tests early, because you never know when an error is going to occur and you don't want to end up missing the deadline because of something so silly like that. So please make sure that you plan ahead, that you book these exams ahead, and you do not miss the deadline. Another important document for admission is the statement of purpose. So again, start early, because the statement of purpose is not something that can be done overnight or in a couple of days. So in the statement of purpose, you would essentially talk about who you are, what you want to do, why you want to study, how it's going to help you develop in life, how you're going to be able to contribute to the society, community, etc. So make a list of all these things and develop it into a small essay. And keep it short, simple, and precise, because the admissions receive so many applications in a year and you want yours to stand out. So keep it short, simple, and crisp. So another important document is your letter of recommendation. So the letters of recommendations are super important because they guarantee that you're going to be a great asset to NUS. So, again, one simple suggestion here would be to start early, because back then, if I remember correctly, NUS did not accept hard copies of LORs, and it had to be uploaded on a link that would be sent to your referees. So I remember getting my LORs from two of my favorite professors in my undergrad university, and they were more than happy to do it for me. So a simple suggestion here would be to get started early, choose your referees, talk to them beforehand, have a discussion with them, and even help them prepare your referrals even before the application process starts, because the link will be sent to them as soon as you submit your online application, and you don't want them missing the deadline because the link expires and you might not be able to access them. So get started early and do what you have to, and remind your referees to upload this particular LOR into the portal. Yet another important document is your CV or your resume. So I don't think I have to elaborate about what this is. So if you're a fresher, make sure that you talk about your extracurriculars, your volunteering work, all the conferences you've attended, the papers you've published, all the work that you've done in your college, and so on. And if you're a seasoned professional, then mention all of your work experience, and make sure that your CV is kind of short and within 2 pages, because again, these admission committees receive a lot of application and you want yours to stand out. So if you're going to have a 5 or 6 pager, then it's probably not going to stand out. So a simple suggestion here would be to keep it small, short, and crisp. But don't keep it too short, like don't keep it within a half a page, so that's not going to work. So make sure you do something that's sensible, keep it fresh, keep it precise, keep it short and simple. So coming to the application process itself, so I think that back then, I not only submitted an online application, but I also had to send a post of all the hard copies to Singapore itself, to NUS itself. So make sure, if you have to do that, make sure that you have all your documents ready, make sure you plan beforehand, and that you don't miss the deadline. So the list of supporting documents can be found on the NUS website, so you can click here and find that out. So most of the time, people have done all this work, they've possibly done everything that they can to apply to NUS, and now they're just anxiously waiting for the results. They just want to know if they've gotten in or not. So these outcomes actually vary from year to year and also from person to person, from what I know. Because I applied sometime in November of 2018 and I got my result on 23rd of April 2019. So that's about 6 months, right? But I also know a lot of my batchmates got it in February. So if you get in, you will definitely get an email from them before April or May. And if you don't worry, there's always a next time, and there are so many other universities that you can apply to. So don't worry about it, you can always try again. So now let's get started on moving to Singapore itself. So once you get the offer letter, a few weeks later, you will also get your in-principle approval. So this is basically some sort of a visa for you to fly to Singapore itself. So as soon as we landed back then, the university had an orientation session for us, and we received our welcome kit and also the student ID. Soon after, you will have to put together a few documents and you will have to submit it to the ICA in Singapore, and you will soon get your student visa. These processes happen pretty easily and they are pretty fast and seamless in Singapore, so you don't really have to worry about it. I remember I had to submit these documents to ICA at the university campus itself, so it wasn't a hassle at all. So now you move to Singapore and you have to look for a place to live, right? So I think for LLM students, we are given the option to apply for 3 hostels, one near the Bukit Timah campus and 2 near the main NUS Cambridge campus. So I suggest that you apply to College Green, which is near the Bukit Timah campus, as your first preference, because it's very close to the NUS Law School, and if you get in, you can also enjoy a nice walk through the botanical gardens every time you go to your campus. So application to these hostels and College Green is a separate application application process itself, and it's a separate process itself. So I don't think there's a short criteria on who gets in and who doesn't. If you get in, good for you. If you do not worry, because there are so many options that you can try outside, such as various condos, various hostels that you can stay in. And research your options well and make sure that you stay in a place that is comfortable for you. So as for me, I got into College Green and I really like living there because I had these great flatmates, and it was very close to the botanical gardens, it was very close to the campus, it was very close to the supermarket. So for me, it was a very comfortable and nice experience to live there. And we also had these get-togethers and all these parties at College Green. And for me, it was a great experience, and it was one of the best experiences of me being at NUS LLM. So in terms of expenses at College Green, for me, usual life expenses costed me about $100 a week, including groceries, including all the parties, including all the food, the expensive stationery, and so on. But in terms of the budget for College Green itself, I think back then it was about 4,000 Singapore dollars a girl. But I do know that these prices get revised on a yearly basis, so make sure you check before you apply. So congratulations, you have now moved to Singapore and you have settled in, and now it's time for your classes. So before that, you have to choose your schedule, right? So I think most of this will be explained in the orientation, but if you're interested, watch till the end. So for starters, you can find a list of electives and subjects from the NUS LLM elective page. And for the degree itself, you need to do about 40 to 42 credits if I'm not wrong. And if you've chosen a specialization, for example, I chose the Accommodation specialization, then you have to do 20 credits from under the specialization itself. A few of the courses can be mandatory, and if you do not want to do them, then you have to give a proper explanation to the university about why you need to be exempted. But other than that, there are so many other courses that you can choose from based on your interests, based on your schedules, based on the type of examination that you want to take. For instance, some of the courses have a take-home exam, or some of them have an open book or a closed book exam. So choose wisely and choose according to your strengths. I know that a lot of this can sound like Greek and Latin, who's completely new to this and who is not from a credit-based system. So luckily for me, the university that I was doing my undergrad in also followed a credit-based system, so it was fairly easy for me to understand. But I do know that a lot of my batchmates were not from a credit-based system, and they did find it a little bit confusing at first. But once you get to know about it, once you read about it, once you talk to people and do your research, I think it will be fairly easy for you to understand this well. So now you're choosing your schedule and it is time for your actual classes. So let me warn you, there's going to be tons of reading. And one of my most sincere pieces of advice would be to make notes every week and read them. Because if it's going to be a take-home exam, and if you do not do the weekly routine with reading it and taking notes, it is going to be really hard for you. So classes are scheduled as soon as 8 a.m. and as late as 6 p.m. So most of these classes are about 3 hours long and happens once a week. So there are 12 weeks in each semester, and the 13th week is probably your assessment week, where you will be doing your take-home exam or you will be turning in your research paper. So for all of these, right, you have a great resource at NUS, which is the NUS Law Library. And I really love spending time here because it's so peaceful and there isn't anything that you cannot find in here. And they also have an excellent online library that you can use. So make sure that you use all of these resources available here and have a great time researching and have a great time preparing for your exams. That brings us to the end of part 1. If you liked it, make sure that you watch part 2 of this video, and I really hope you get into NUS Law.